Overview. When using Composer, you use the joystick to play the notes. Each of these pads allows you to change what the joystick is able to do. We number our pads from the top left: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is the same in both orientations, but more on that later. Pads 1 and 2. Pad 1 is for Mappable MIDI CC information, as is Pad 2. We explain these in more detail in a separate video. Pad 3. Sustain. Pad 3 in this mode is Sustain. When I play a note, it will usually stop as soon as I return the joystick to the centre. With the Sustain pad pressed, it will continue to play. When Sustain mode is activated, I can play multiple notes and layer them. Pad 4. Chords. Pad 4 allows us to play chords, which is more than one note being played at a time. Smart Sustain. Whilst both chord mode and sustain mode are activated, it will also activate Smart Sustain, which means each time we play a new note or a new direction of the joystick, the sustain pad will automatically come off and back on again. Pads 7 and 8. Octave up or down. Pads 7 and 8 at the bottom of the pad array allow us to change octaves. When Composer is turned on, it auto-loads into the centre, meaning we're playing middle C when we move forwards. By pressing pad 7 once, we move down one octave. If you press it again, we move down another octave. C1 is the lowest note we can currently play with Composer. If I press pad 8, it allows us to move back up through the octaves. C5 is the highest note we can currently play on Composer. Sustain and octaves. When using sustain with single notes, we're able to layer notes on top of one another. By combining that with the octave pads, we can make chords. Pads 5 and 6. Chord extensions. Pads 5 and 6 only become operational when chord mode is selected. With chord mode on and pad 5 and 6 both off, we're playing a triad made of 3 notes. If I move the joystick up, we're going to play C major. Pad 5 adds extensions that allows us to play C major triad, C major 7th, ninth, and 11th. And back to the triad. If I play another direction on the joystick and do the same, it will play the relevant chords to that direction. This direction plays A. When I turn chord mode on, we play A minor, A minor 7th, A minor 9th, and A minor 11th. And back to the triad. Pad 6 changes the inversion, which is the order in which the notes are played. With no light on the inversion pad, we're playing C major, with C at the bottom, so the notes go C, E, G. With the inversion light on, with a white light, that means we're playing the first inversion, which is E, G, C. If you press Pad 6 once more, we have a purple light, which plays G, C, E. Padlock. If you're working with a group and you have set up the pads in a specific way that you would not like to be changed, Composer has a feature called Padlock. In this instance, we're going to be playing chords. There is no sustain, we've got the 7th selected, and we're on the first inversion. To activate Padlock, simultaneously hold down pads 3, 6 and 7 for 3 seconds, until the pads are no longer illuminated. You can activate Padlock by holding down pads 3, 6 and 7, or pads 4, 5 and 8. To deactivate Padlock, press and hold the same pads you pressed to activate Padlock. Pads 7 and 8 together. Accidentals. If you press both of the octave pads together, you access accidentals, which flattens the next note by 1 semitone. Pad 1. Settings page. To enter the settings page, press and hold Pad 1 for 3 seconds. Here, we're able to change numerous things within Composer. Mappable MIDI CC. Firstly, we have the CC values on Pad 2. We'll go into MIDI control CC values soon, but this is where we're able to cycle through the various different settings that are currently available. Pad 5. Dynamics on or off. Pad number 5 allows us to lock the velocities of the notes. The faster or slower that I move the joystick, the louder or quieter the note will play. By pressing Pad 5 and turning off the light, we remove that dynamic velocity, and all notes are played at a fixed volume. Pad 6. Major or natural minor scales. Pad number 6 changes from major, which is the orange light, to minor, which is the yellow light. Currently, there are just 2 scales on Composer, major and natural minor. This is how the major scale sounds. And this is how the natural minor scale sounds. Pads 7 and 8. Semitone, up or down. The octave pads 7 and 8 move us up and down through our root note. We start on C, and you'll see when pressing pad number 7, the lights on Composer's pads will show the shape of the letter C. Next, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B. Once at the top of the scale, we can go no further, and it will continue to show B. For now, let's go back down to C. We've gone down to the C root note, and you can see that pad 6 is yellow, which means we're playing the natural minor scale. To get back into instrument mode, simply press pad number 1. Pad 2, second settings mode. To access Composer's second settings page, hold down pad number 2 for 3 seconds. Pads 7 and 8. MIDI channel up or down. The second settings page allows you to change the MIDI channel that you're operating on. We have MIDI channels from 1 to 16. You can cycle through these MIDI channels by using pads 7 and 8. Pad 2. Device flip. One key feature within Settings page 2 is the ability to reorientate your device. Some people prefer to play with the pads at the bottom and the joystick at the top. However, others prefer to play with the joystick at the bottom and the pads at the top. To activate the device flip, press pad 2 in Settings mode 2. I can now press pad number 2 and it will flip the device pads around. This now means that the buttons are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So let's turn the device around and we have pads number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Here you can see now we still have the Octave pads at the bottom and we have the Mappable MIDI CC pads at the top. The root note is still up on the joystick.